Welcome to episode 27 of Behind the Shield. Today we get the opportunity to catch up with head athletic trainer Nate Cooke. Hello again, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Scott Geist with another episode of Behind the Shield. As you can see, a new environment. We're back at work. Super happy about that. And we have student athletes and students coming back here shortly, back to the college, which we're all very, very excited about. Today we get to talk to Nate about doing many things, getting ready for the new season, how COVID-19 has changed some of the way they're going to do things. Certainly a lot of protocols, a lot of safety measures that are now put in place for the safety and health of our student athletes and our trainers and our staff. So a lot of interesting things to talk about with Nate. We touch on what he did during quarantine, a lot of disc golf. So we expect that handicap to be pretty low. So when we get back from this commercial message, we'll talk to head athletic trainer Nate Cooke.
The results are in, and it's clear that our Spartan family really showed their love for York College this YCP Day of Giving. You played an integral role in helping us reach new heights. Thank you for your generosity. Gifts from donors like you make a difference in the lives of our students every single day. Your continued support is so important. Because YCP is a nonprofit, so much of the York College experience is a direct result of the generosity of our donors. This year's Day of Giving created opportunities for every current and future student by providing funding for scholarships, academic areas, and student life that tuition alone cannot cover. Thank you to the entire Spartan family, alumni, current students, parents, and friends of the college. We couldn't have done it without you.
Welcome back to episode 27 of Behind the Shield. Today we have a very special guest as our head athletic trainer Nate Cooke joins us. Nate, how are you doing?
Good.
It's kind of cool to see we're both back at work, which is awesome to get a chance to see everybody with our masks on. But certainly it's great to be back and great to actually get to talk to each other. We're doing this interview obviously in our respective spaces, but nice to be able to get to see each other in person.
Yeah, it is good to be back, and it's weird.
It is weird. You're exactly right. It's kind of ready to get the kids back for sure.
Yes, it's a new normal, for in a lot of ways, but it's something we have to do to get these kids back.
Amen. So what have you been up to during quarantine? Tell us a little bit about what you've been doing to keep busy, and what have you been up to?
Yeah, so early on in the quarantine, I was furloughed until the end of near the end of June. So during that time, I was like, what am I going to do? It was kind of crazy, but the family, spent a ton of time with the family. That was just a huge time to reevaluate, your priorities, and spending time with family was definitely one of them during that time. And we had family time in the evenings. We made dinner together. We did, different activities together. It was pretty cool. But throughout the days too, it was like, okay, what do we do? And I ended up playing a ton of disc golf. Something that Sean, my assistant, and I have really, and Dwayne Bastros too, have really taken up in the last year, 2 years or so. And so I've played 58 rounds of disc golf in the last 5 months. Now, the last month and a half since I've been back has not been a lot of disc golf. But yeah, that kept me active, got me outside. It was a social distance, type of activity. We're not riding in carts. We're walking through the woods, very solitary. That's kind of back to my roots of who I am and what I like to do. I like to be outside. I like to be, in nature, and it was just right down my alley. And the competition of something was just great to have as well. We also did a bunch of like home projects. I can't go without saying that.
I've built more things in my house and fixed more things in my house than I care to mention. And yeah, We're in good shape with that. I want to go back to the family thing. You know, one of the things that we noticed is we actually got to eat dinner together, which during the springtime and even during the summer with baseball and all the other times, it was really nice to be able to have the opportunity to just sit and eat with our family. And I know you feel like that. How different is that for you? Because, you know, normally when we're in session, you're really going at it.
Yeah. It was diametrically opposed to, you know, when we're in session. You know, we may eat together once or twice at the table per week, you know, in the speed of athletic life when it's going at its full tilt, you know, during the semester. So during that time, we were doing 7 days a week, you know, and you know, pretty much every meal, specifically the dinner, that we were actually intentional with, you know, sitting down together, making it together, you know, and we've continued that. That was, you know, it was real consistent in March, April, and May, and it's, you know, it's waned a little bit in the last couple months, but we're still doing it quite often. And so, yeah, there's a lot. I mean, I'm traveling with teams in every season, so, you know, I'm on the road a lot, typically.
I certainly think that's been one of the blessings of quarantine. I'm not sure that my kids feel like that all the time, but getting the opportunity to spend time with them at the dinner table, and, you know, we played board games, we sat out at the fire pit, we've done a lot of things that probably during the course of the year we normally wouldn't do. So, you know, that's making the best of a bad situation, I think is a term for that. I'd like to jump into you at work. You know, one of the things that I've always thought about you and your operation is you really, really care about your kids, which we all do. But, you know, you get the biggest round of applause, your staff, when we do our year-end thing, you know, because you work with so many of our kids. How is building a relationship for you with our kids? Why is that so important to what you do for them?
Well, it's easy because we have good kids. You know, we have the type of athlete, the type of kid here at York College that I absolutely adore. You know, they are hardworking. You know, nothing is served to them on a platter. You know, they have to work for it. And you know, so when I see them doing that on the field, and then something happens and they get injured, you know, they bring that in here too. And so, and I feed off of that. And, you know, basically we go forth, you know, through their rehab program with that. And it's super important to establish that relationship and to understand where they're coming from and to just get to know them so that the trust is a two-way street. You know, they trust what I'm going to say for them to do, and I trust that they're going to do it. And it helps when you have coaches that also support, you know, that endeavor as well.
Talk a little bit about the relationship with the coaches, because obviously the coach's goal is to win games. And if their best players aren't on the field because of injury, sometimes is there a little bit of pressure to maybe clear somebody, not necessarily clear somebody, but get somebody ready maybe quicker than what it should be? Or is that relationship with your coaches, like when you say, listen, this kid can't go, they take that and they understand that you have the best interest of the kid and the team at heart when you're making those decisions?
Now, we don't really have a whole lot of issues with that here. I think we are very blessed to also have very good coaches, coaches that understand, you know, what is necessary when an athlete is injured, and sometimes, you know, it takes longer than we expect, and I think our coaches know and understand my philosophy and the fact that I want them back out on the field just as quick as they do, sometimes quicker. You know, sometimes I'm like, you know what, this kid needs to push through this, and he's safe. You know, he's safe to be out there to play, and so sometimes I'm convincing them to, you know, to let their athlete back, and you know, different situations create different scenarios of whether we put someone back with, so there's, but it's all about the health and safety of our athletes and what's best for them, ultimately is what we're after. And I think our coaches fall in line with that as well.
You talked about a new normal. You kind of talked about it in a different context, but now in a couple of weeks we have kids coming in. Hopefully we're going to be able to do some practices, despite the fact that fall is canceled competition-wise. How is it going to change for you? Obviously, you're on the front line, literally, of kids coming in to get treatment. You're going to be out at practices, doing all those things. What are some of the things that you guys are going to need to be cognizant of as we're moving forward in this new COVID age?
Yeah, well, I have a few things here that are going to be staples for us as we open back up. We have the masks. Now, this is the one that I use when I go into rudders and, kind of come into work. It's just a nice cloth mask. But we have the ones, the York College masks. We got those as we returned to work this last Monday, and those are pretty cool. I'll go with the outfit. I also have an N95. We have boxes of N95 masks. So that, is for when we're in here and we're evaluating an athlete and we're within that 6 feet of distance. We're going to need the maximum protection for ourselves and also for them, to make sure that they're safe. It's going to be different from the point that they come in the door. When they come in the door, they're going to have a mask on. They're going to have to do a screen, which will be online, be right on their phone. I think it's in the works through Qualtrics, the system that we use in the college, and they'll be able to do that, and they'll be able to show their phone to me that they completed that and that they're safe to be out and about on campus. And then they'll have to sign in. There'll be, hand sanitizer there for them to use while they sign in. It's going to be all appointments. With needing to have a max capacity in here and to maintain that, we're going to have to limit how the athletes come through the athletic training room. So we're going to require them to go onto our sportswear database, and there's a calendar on there, and I'm going to input myself and my staff schedules in there, and they're going to be able to sign up for an appointment and come in, whether it's for rehab or whether it's for, hey, we're practicing this afternoon, so I'm going to need my ankle taped if we can do that. So they're going to have to sign up for an appointment to come in. Sometimes it may be just for a blister, for a cut, something like that, and we're going to have to really filter and make sure that we're not exceeding capacity within this health facility. So it's going to look a lot different. We'll even have these things as well, the face shields. So we'll use that if we need extra protection beyond the masks. We'll use gloves. We're going to do everything in our power to keep the athletes safe when they need to come in, and we need to, we're hands-on in this facility. So, we're going to be closer than that six feet social distance in order to treat them and take care of them. So we're going to have to do everything we can to keep us safe and keep them safe.
Well, and knowing how many people you have in the training room at one time, I think that's going to be the biggest challenge, right? Of just maintaining the flow of not having, so many people in, and a lot of that's going to be predicated by schedules, which, you've worked with the administration to understand that, we can't have 6 teams practicing at one time because it doesn't work in terms of numbers, right?
Yeah, so there's going to be a different plan. It's it's a new normal for us, but it's a new normal for everybody. And so the way we're going to operate with practices and activity for the athletes, it's going to allow us to be able to temper the way we have athletes. I keep calling them kids. And I've been here 23 years. They could
Well, they are kids.
But to have the athletes come through in a more controlled manner, I think we're going to be able to set something up that'll allow for that.
All right, I want to transition a little bit and talk about your staff. We've had so many. You've been really blessed, and you've hired the right people with so many great assistants over the course of time. Talk a little bit about your staff and what they mean to you, and what they've meant over the course of your career here at York College.
Well, it's been increasingly apparent when I haven't had them the last few months that they've been on furlough, and as I came back a month and a half ago, they weren't there, and I had to do everything that we normally do as an entire staff, by myself. And that's when you realize, really truly realize how much, they mean to this program and this institution. And this room doesn't run efficiently or at all without, my staff alongside of me. It takes us all as a team, just like the athletic teams. I look at my staff as a team as well, and I need them to be just as efficient and just as busy at doing things to make sure that this room operates just like I do. And I expect the same out of them that I do out of myself. And it's easy to do that when you have somebody like Sean and Maddie and all of our previous interns that have been with us. They and previous assistants too. Yeah, you're right. I'm totally blessed. With people that care for other people and aren't afraid to get their hands dirty and get into the blood, sweat, and tears and go above and beyond. Both of them are perfect examples of employees that go above and beyond just the normal everyday thing. They meet with athletes, on their own time, in their offices to go over things that the athletes just need some advice, and we wear many hats, and they're an important piece to us running this room efficiently and creating successful athletic teams out on the competition.
I think it's almost a prerequisite to be a Spartan that you got to work hard and you got to grind a little bit and you got to go. I think you've had so many amazing staff members, and certainly Maddie and Sean fall right in line with those as well.
I think it's the profession of athletic training too.
I think so.
We just understand. You have an understanding of the fact that you're going to have to adjust to changing schedules. And
you get that a lot. Unfortunately, there's times when you're like, "Wait a second, that's not when this was scheduled. What's going on?" No question.
Yeah, you know that too. It's the same thing for you. You have to change your schedule when games change, and things like that. And so we have to be flexible, and understand that we're going to work more than the average full-time hour week, but it's because we care for our athletes. We care about the success of the teams, and we care about each other. And that's also the thing that I didn't really talk about, but we let each other have, it's a give and take of I need a day off here, and you need something here, So we're constantly taking care of each other so that we can take care of our athletes.
Well, such an important part of that. Let's talk about what some of the things that you do in your job that you really enjoy. Obviously, it seems, you love the kids, you love your coworkers. What are some of the things that really gratify you as you are, you look back at the end of a year? What are some of the things you go, man, we really got that right, and that was a lot of fun for us to do?
I think, just establishing and nurturing the relationships of the athletes and the staff, that truly is a joy for me. The competition. I didn't get into this profession to be, stuck in the athletic training room all day. I love being out on the field, seeing them practice, seeing them compete. Wherever it is. I love traveling. That's not something a lot of people, like, but I like it. I like.
Well, and traveling is going to get a lot easier this year. I mean, in the years moving forward, the change in the conference, so that'll be even better for you. You're not getting home at 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah, I think, there's not too many areas that I don't like about my job. It's just, it's a fun profession. It's not always fun. The last month and a half was not fun, and it never is every summer when we're filtering in all of the paperwork. I think that's probably the one area of my job that I like the least is, and it's always been that way. Even, if you ask Sue Kleindens, my former head athletic trainer here, when I started, paperwork was the one thing that I just didn't like, and I had to grow to appreciate the importance of it, and the being able to sit down, hunker down, and get it done. So, yeah, as far as the things, I love seeing an athlete come from, the total devastation of experiencing an injury, and to the total elation of succeeding out on the field or the court or the pool. It's just, that is one of the most, and then to see them, get awards and things like that, it's really gratifying for me to see those things happen, to see them succeed, because I know the road that they had to take. I know that that road was not always mountaintops, that there were some valleys, in there, but all the way through that, I was there, right there with them. So, that's pretty gratifying to see that.
Well, and I think of two just off the top of my head, Hutch and Haley Luckaball, who both tore ACLs, both had long recoveries, and both have come back to be unbelievable in their comeback. So I think certainly that is just two of the examples of the many, many examples of you guys just doing amazing work down the athletic training room. I want to ask you a question about when you've had kids for a while. Clearly, and the guy who comes to mind in this instance, just because I got to witness some of this, is Jared Wagner, a guy who's not necessarily hurt and usually would play banged up, but always in the training room, always doing his work. How hard is it to see when you see that guy's career finally come to a close after an incredible career? What's it like for you to have to then, man, I'm not going to see this guy anymore. It's not, it's not somebody who, it's almost like a life check. Like, you're constantly seeing this guy during the season and treating him and getting him ready to go. How hard is it when you realize, oh, wow, that's it. There's no more getting to watch him play or getting the opportunity to treat him?
Yeah, it's a transition every time. Every time that happens, there's, because it's a relationship. It's more than just treating the injuries and all of the mess of doing that throughout his 4-year career and others 6-year careers. So there's a transition. And he's definitely one that I'll miss in in the day-to-day. I'm hoping, he's local enough that I'll see him from time to time. I really love it when I get a chance to see, some of those athletes come back and just to catch up with them. And, a little bit on Facebook, I see things here and there, with those that have graduated. And, it's a relationship that a little piece of it is gone because they're no longer here. But, hopefully there's still, part of that you're going to be able to nourish, beyond that. And so, yeah, it's hard. It's hard. And it's one of those things that as new as an athletic trainer, you don't realize until you've been in it, for a number of years. You start to appreciate, my assistants have a new appreciation when they've seen a freshman class go all the way through and graduate. I've had assistants over the years tell me that, and I've seen it in the way they treat their athletes, and becomes more of that relationship, and you experience that loss when they move on. So yeah, it's not easy.
I always think it's amazing the growth that we see in our kids from the time they're freshmen, and they're a little unsure of themselves, and they're a little shy. Even the outgoing ones are a little unsure. And then to see them as seniors, as confident and leaders and kids that have a direction in life, I think that's one of the most rewarding things we get the opportunity to see as they progress through their careers. And certainly you get to spend a lot of time. Do you almost feel in a way sometimes you become a confidant of these kids? Like they can tell you some things that, whether it's personal or team related, that you can listen to and kind of be a sounding board for some of those kids?
Oh yeah. I mean, like I said, we wear many hats, and one of those is a pseudo counselor. We don't have the training, that licensed counselors have, but we have the anecdotal, evidence of, dealing with, things. We have to, be their kind of the second parent, is kind of what I describe it as. It's just being there, listening, being the sounding board, and not as a coach, not as a teammate, but as someone who's, at a level that's professional and that can, be able to hear where they're coming from and just help them through it. And there's a lot of that goes on in the course of a treatment period, or, on the field, on the road. It's, you really do form, those relationships as you're with them on a daily basis.
Well, Nate, I want to thank you for taking the time. Certainly great to catch up with you. Great to see you in person. We're all looking forward to our kids coming back. So thanks for taking the time to visit with us.
Yeah, thank you.
Can't wait till those kids get back.
No, yeah, and just a shout out to the kids. Like, we're really, the athletes, we're really looking forward to you coming back. And I know Scott as well is looking forward to that.
So ready. Well, and it feels like, too, we missed out on getting to say goodbye to everybody.
Yes.
Everything ended in March so suddenly that we never really got a chance to say goodbye to our kids, which is unusual because normally we have the award ceremony and we have games and all that stuff. So I think that was particularly difficult as well, I think, at the end of last year.
Yeah. There's definitely just some, aspects that just were unfinished.
Yep, I agree. All right, Nate. Well, it's time to get back to work, and I don't think we could be happier. Thanks for joining us.
All right, thanks.
Certainly great to get a chance to catch up with Nate Cooke, our head athletic trainer. A lot of changes here at the college in terms of dealing with COVID-19, especially within intercollegiate athletics. So Nate's got his thumb on the pulse of it, and I'm sure our student athletes will be as safe as they possibly can be during this time. So we want to thank you for joining us again. We'll be back next week with some new episodes. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and go Spartans.